day everyone, I am Laramie Cahiers Chato. So today I will be presenting about the Mulbog, one of the indigenous group found in the Philippines, particularly in Palawan. So Philippines is home to numerous indigenous groups, including the Mulbog tribe, also known as Malibugan or Malibuganon. So they are part of 13 ethno-linguistic groups. The introduction. So the Molbog are described as migrants from the northern part of Borneo, whose population is estimated to be more than 20,000. So the name Molbog is derived from the word malubog, meaning murky or turbid water. It refers to the muddy water that surrounds the Bay Area caused by flood water flowing from the interior. So Balabac Island was called Malubugon, while its inhabitants were referred to as Mulbog, which is likely derived from the term Malubugon. Next is the location. So the Mulbog are indigent in the province of Palawan, who is believed to be among the migrants from North Borneo and is now living in Balabac Island, the southernmost tip of Palawan. And now let's proceed to the history. So the island of Palawan used to be a trading hub between the Philippines and Brunei, where Tausug merchants often passed through the area to refill their water and food supplies. According to the linguistic and historical evidence uncovered by Blanchetti, so the Mulbog were once an indigenous Palawan subgroup that converted to Islam. After interaction with the Tausug and Samal ethnic group, as well as other elements of the Sulu Sultanate, and Mulbog assumed a new independent identity. So in the olden times, the Mulbog were ruled by Sulu Datos under the Sulu Sultanate, with each village controlled by religious leaders. So Kolibugan or half-breed is a term used to refer an offspring who is a result of intermarriage between the Tausug and the Mulbog people. Let's proceed to the beliefs of Mulbog. First belief is the pregnancy. So during pregnancy of Mulbog women rely heavily on the Panday, their traditional birth attendant. So they follow her advice before, during, and after childbirth. So they believe in various spirits such as Busao, the spirit that harms infants, the Wakwak who suck the baby's blood while still inside the mother's womb, the Kikik, a small flying creature, and the Balbal, a monkey-like creature with the ability to change its appearance, and the Encanto, who lives in the same balete tree as the Busao. Next is the birthing. So during labor, the Panday ties charm, plants, and stone around the mother for spiritual protection. So the pregnant woman must lie down while delivering. So when the baby is born, the Panday uses a small knife or blade known as ilab, or a bamboo stick to cut the child's umbilical cord. The cord is wrapped in an old mat and buried beneath the house stairwell. So the relative must wait outside during the birthing process. So next, we have the dietary system. So Mulbog have strict beliefs about the food during pregnancy and nursing. So several eating beliefs and behaviors are regarded extremely significant. The meals consumed by pregnant women are thought to influence the ease or difficulty of delivery. Others have an impact on the mother's milk quality. So the tribal healer is frequently contacted about the mother's diet and the complementary food she recommends for the child. So pregnant women should avoid certain meals. They feel that eating the entrails of animals is harmful to the health of children. Shrimps, eel, and twin bananas fruit should not be eaten because they may cause delivery delays. They should avoid eating cassava because it may result in a little kid with large tummy. So eating barongkas is also forbidden since it's said that this creature will eat the fetus in the womb. They should not consume a hen with the whole egg still inside since the baby will not be born. Next is the prenatal. So, there is no indigenous prenatal checkup for the mulbog. So, pregnant ladies take care of themselves by eating fruits and vegetables, drinking herbal medication, walking, bathing every morning and snacking on rice grains. So the Panday will provide a sambor if she was affected by an evil spirit while wandering to the healing prayer. So when she becomes unwell, she generally consults the Panday who will then heal her with the sambor, which is the prayer. So next we have the intrapartial. So the Panday mix a patajong with lemon, sambong leaves, banana leaves, guava leaves, money, rice grains, and some unsod or offerings when the woman is in labor and ready to birth. So she then offers a prayer using the material she has prepared. So after that, she trim a small section of a mother's hair. So they wet the newborn with rice, ground coconut meat, and batang or the cotton shell when he or she is born. So before cutting the cord, the Panday says a prayer and then bends it with a thread. So the last belief is postpartial. So the mother is advised to take a gugu bath for 10 to 44 days after giving birth to rebuild her strength. So soft meals like arroz caldo as well as other nutritional foods like jackfruit, coconut milk, shellfish and fish should be consumed. If she has a bleeding, so the Panday will heal her with the healing prayer and prescribe steamed guava, sambong and libangan, a riverside leaves as a treatment. So the mother will next sit on a pail filled with steaming leaves provided by the Panday. So for 1 week after giving birth, moms are not prevented to move heavy objects, wash clothes, or wash their hands in cold water. So they are only supposed to do minimal housework. So while bathing the newborn, the Panday also perform a sambor or healing prayer. So let's proceed to the culture. First is the language. So Mulbog is an Austronesian language spoken in the Philippines and Sabah, Malaysia. Majority of the speakers are concentrated at the southernmost tip of the Philippines province of Palawan, specifically the municipalities of Bataraza and Balabac. So linguistically, the Mulbog language has some lexical similarity with Sama, Tausug, and Palawenyo. Next is the tradition and costumes of Mulbog. So one famous Mulbog tradition is the dance ritual for offering, healing, and prayer. So first is the tarok. So tarok is the dance ritual for offering healing. It usually done to enactment or planting activity in a slush and born farm kaingin, which also includes their other forms of livelihood and survival in the mountains. Next is the pangalay. So it's also their form of ritual usually executed during wedding and Thanksgiving where they provided offering to their deities and other supernatural being. So aside from dance rituals, another legacy of ancient Mulbog tribe is process of making clothes or fabrics out of bamboo skin. So sadly, only a few members of the tribe practice this tradition nowadays. So a practices of the tribe that is slowly disappearing along the advancement of technology is the tradition of making clothes or fabrics out of bamboo skin. So bamboo fabric is made from pulp of the bamboo grass, which is spun and dyed for weaving into cloth. So today, these practices is kept alive by presenting it to tourists visiting the islands. So men and women uses patajong as their clothing. Some of them wears bahag or likely igrot style. So the dance rituals in bamboo fabrics need special reason to be performed or produced. So the traditional Mulbog delicacies include ja and pinaram. So ja, this food is made of rice, sugar, and water, while the pinaram is made from rice flour, coconut milk, or regular milk, and some sugar. This sweet pancake-like snack is staple during Mulbog festivities. So ja and pinaram can be eaten at any time of the day. These two treats are common in Sulu, Tawi-Tawi, Borneo, and Malaysia. Let's proceed to the religion. So the folk Islam is the primary religion practiced by the Mulbog. It is a syncretistic belief system that blends traditional elements of Islam with superstitious practices such as warding of spirit with incantation and magic amulets and reciting verses of the Quran to bring about miraculous healing. As Islam practitioners, they follow the five pillars of Islam and perform basic Arabic chanting regularly. Next, we have the healthcare system. The Panday or the additional birth attendant is a Mulbog member or woman who alternative to doctor. She is in charge all throughout the woman pregnancy, before, during, and after delivery. So pregnant women follow the Panday's advice to ensure safe delivery of their babies. So, next is livelihood. So, the Mulbog livelihoods include fishing, subsistence farming, and barter trading with the people in nearby Sulu as well as in the Sabah market centers in the neighboring state of Malaysia. So, they grow coconuts and sell copra. So the majority of Mulbog communities are located in isolated mountains regions that are hard to reach. Most often, their traditional beliefs and costume passed on from one generation to the next are related to healthcare and safety. Last is the games played by their children and the musical instrument of the Mulbog. So, children of Mulbog tribe play bato bola using santol fruit or suha. So, the musical instrument of Mulbog is a gong and the kulintang. That's ends of my presentation. Thank you for listening and I hope you learned something about the Mulbog tribe.